Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Cake Eaters Avalanche podcast. Today, Blake has turned into my father because Blake has we talked about it last podcast. He had stuff to do with hockey and things, so he was busy. And since he didn't go to the game, given what happened during the game, I did want to get someone who was actually there, give a first person account of how the energy and everything felt. So. We have my father who was at the game.
Hello, everybody.
That's not his real voice.
That is how I would talk the whole time.
Oh, great.
No regrets.
I got chocolate cake because that game was kind of a poo show. So
I got whiskey because I was at that game.
You need something to take the edge off.
Yep. And your mom wouldn't stop and buy me cake on the way home, so.
How rude.
They didn't have cake at the gas station, so no gas station cake for me.
This is a gas station cake. Ugh. I feel like I always get chocolate cake when I'm wearing a white jersey, so it's nice that I'm not wearing a white jersey this time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, well, what?
Nothing.
Okay.
You won't spill it on your jersey at all, I'm sure.
Well, but if I do, it won't be as bad. All right, well, while I'm eating my cake, you tell me how it felt in the arena as someone who reportedly wanted to leave after Edmonton's third goal.
I did want to leave after Edmonton's third goal. I thought that it started out really weird because TJ Comfer was introduced and I didn't know who that was. So I thought maybe there was trade made that I was not aware of.
No one said anything about that.
Yeah, TJ Comfer. Susie Warchin apparently was standing in for Roach. I don't know what's going on with him, but I saw that she was taking his place for today. And yeah, she right out the gates called JT Comfer TJ. Your mom and I were both like,
in her defense, there are hockey commentators that have been doing this for years, commentated several Avalanche games, and still call him JT Comfer.
I think that she did. Other than that, was the only mistake I heard her make. I thought she did a very fine job. Just one little mistake. It was kind of a funny one. So we were calling him TJ the rest of the night. Yeah, no, they like just
TJ Comfer.
Yeah, you're like, go Timothy Jimothy. And then I kept thinking of TJ Hooker, which is a totally other reference. So that you wouldn't get because you're not from the 70s.
No, I get the reference. I know the song, the one song.
Well, TJ Hooker's a TV show, dude.
Oh. Who I think of?
I don't know. But it's a TV show from the 70s. Yeah. So anywho, you should check it out. It's probably on like channel 3 at like 11 o'clock at night, right before Heart to Heart. Could you hear that?
Yes.
Pardon. You know, they had an in. They had a in arena thing that they do, that little questionnaire things that they do with the players. And the question was, would you rather have dry mouth or really bad gas? So I guess you know which direction we went in this house. I just took Oscar for a walk, but apparently he didn't get it out then. He just had to save it for here.
Was that him or did he...
I think your mom was moving something upstairs. I don't know what it was.
Oh.
Yeah. It wasn't actually a fart. But...
All right. Well, continue your explanation.
Yeah, so no, it was interesting. When they scored, they had 3 power plays in the first period, and then they got another power play in the second period and couldn't score on their stupid power play, which is just driving me absolutely crazy.
It's one of your biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, I mean, there are 2 things that I absolutely just drive me insane, and that's when you can't score on your power play and when you don't win any faceoffs. And they did win faceoffs when they needed to. TJ was awesome. in the overtime. I don't know if he's the official replacement for JT, but if he's going to do that in with faceoffs in overtime, I don't think he was off the ice in overtime. It seemed like it was like they kept having faceoffs, so they're like, "Get out there, Timothy." And he did a nice job. I was impressed by that. I mean, it was pretty crazy. That being down 3-0, I thought, oh, they're going to get shut out again. And that's probably the trifecta for me. This team should never get shut out. And them getting shut out pisses me off greatly as well. So I was glad they didn't, when they scored so they went down 3-0, and part of my self management is not letting things that I can't have any control over make me angry. So I went and walked around the concourse, and they scored 2 goals. So I knew your mom wouldn't let me come back down to the seats. So I stayed up there until intermission, and then went down and watched the third.
And then you went down and they scored, so she'll let you stay.
Yeah. Yep. They scored bunches. It just seemed like they finally decided to play some hockey, and then they just couldn't get out of their way quite enough. It was like they'd get a goal and then give it right back up, and then get another goal and then give it right back up. And it was like, are they ever going to get this figured out?
So for me, I wasn't as pessimistic as you were, because I mean, I don't, obviously you were in the game, so they were talking about it profusely. If I was an Edmonton fan and I was watching the broadcast, I'd be kind of pissed off, because they would not go 5 seconds without mentioning they blew a 3-0 lead the other day. They were like, well, the Oilers can't keep a lead. And I was like, well,
that's got to be real demoralizing for them, because they're in the wild card slot, right?
Right, they're in the first one.
Right, they're in the first one. I was just looking at that before we started, and now
they are only 2 points back of Seattle.
Yeah, and they're 5 points up on Calgary, 3 on Minnesota. So, yeah, they're sitting pretty comfy, but that's still got to be kind of demoralizing when you're playing a team that you have every reason to have revenge on the mind, right? I mean, that's what I kept hearing. I felt like coming into this game was, you got Edmonton has been sitting here waiting for them, and they have revenge on the mind after, getting swept in the playoffs and blah, blah, blah.
Well, what I think is extra frustrating for Edmonton is they get 2 goals from Warren Fogle, a goal from Matthias Janmark, and a goal from Leon Draisaitl, which, I mean, who is the other person? Oh, and a goal from Tyson Barrie. You should most times win that game, but I don't know what, I've always felt like I just don't, I'm always scared because he's Connor McDavid, but it always never feels like he's I don't know, he's never quite himself against the Avs most of the time. I mean, looking back just the past few years.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. MacKinnon was sitting there right next to him when he accepted, and he chose out of his multiple choice names, he chose McJesus. And your mom and I were talking about, he had multiple opportunities to say, well, if it was McJesus, maybe, I could be Mayor McJesus. But no, he's got to be just a moron. And he seems like he's about as smart as a puck, sitting there I'll go with McJesus as my nickname. It's like, oh my God. And, MacKinnon was sitting there right next to him. He's got to be like, okay, McJesus.
Yeah. I don't know. I just it wasn't even like I found him, he didn't even seem to be a threat on the ice. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how you thought about Nathan MacKinnon's game. I saw Blake seemed to like MacKinnon more than I did. I was not a fan of Nathan MacKinnon tonight. I don't think he was. Obviously, he scores 2 goals and he has an assist. And it's I'm not damn you, MacKinnon. But there were some moments where he had more to give, I felt like. But
I felt like, the whole team had more to give, like through that first period and a half. Like I had said to your mom, MacKinnon just keeps like somehow finding the other team's stick every time he's trying to make a pass. Like he's not reading the lanes really well or something. And I mean, like not up to what you're used to seeing MacKinnon do. And I don't know if it's, from a little bit of a hangover from the night before of, having played and had to fly all the way home, not drunk hungover, just, tired hungover. I don't know if it's a little bit of that or if it's, it just seemed like it took them a while to get their legs under them. And once they did, I liked how he played, but he started out real sluggish in my opinion. Yeah. I thought everybody kind of did.
I don't know. To be quite fair, to be quite honest, through 3 periods of hockey, I was impressed with the Avs' ability of perseverance, but I never thought that they were really the better team at most points of the night. The only period that I really thought they were the better team in was overtime.
Well, they were dominant in overtime. They were so good in overtime. I mean,
yeah, it was frustrating because I thought they were passing up some opportunities. Like there was a shift where they just kept trying to cycle it high, and I'm like, this isn't. Nope, it's not okay. Go down low, go somewhere.
But I felt like that was smart of them though, because 3-on-3 is so much about possession,
right?
That they were kind of feeling and looking for their opportunities, and then because I mean you saw it when Mikko saw his opportunity, he just forced his way in there, and he made that opportunity happen.
I guess I would say for me, overtime was 2 different things, but I don't want to go to overtime quite yet.
Too bad. I'm already there. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, the first period was the worst. They had 3 power plays. They didn't do anything on any of them. And the 5v5, they weren't doing much of anything anyways. This was a frustration that I had throughout the whole game. I thought they weren't doing enough. They weren't creating enough offense at 5v5. And I will say, I think in the third period, things got better for them. Like there were more chances from in tight, but I felt like they were too content to throw pucks from up high. And, I don't think he played particularly well tonight, but Jack Campbell, got the start because of how hot he's been for the Oilers. Mm-hmm. And when you're facing a hot goalie, the best way to beat him isn't to shoot pucks from the point, through no screen or anything.
Well, and I think that was the thing. That's the thing that's kind of driving me nuts the most with Choo is that I feel like that's his bread and butter is get there and get his ass in front of the goalie and really cause disruption up in front of him. And it seemed like it took a while for that I don't feel like he's 100% yet. I feel like he's getting knocked off the puck a lot easier than we're used to seeing with him. And I think that those kinds of things, there were a few times where it was just like, they just kind of are whipping it at the net and nobody's there in front of the net to try to cause disruption or look for a rebound or tip in or something like that.
Yeah, I felt like Devontae's had about 30 shots from the beginning of the game.
In the first period.
Yeah.
He just kept whipping it.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. I mean, that's his job, right? Like,
right. Yeah. No, for him, I don't mind.
Is okay with me. And I mean, eventually that did work out. I mean, that's what JT did on the 5th goal, right?
Yeah, but they got traffic in front.
But it was traffic in front of the net that did it. Yep.
They talked about that during the thing. That's how a few of the goals got scored. The first goal for the Avs, I found I wasn't thrilled with Andreas Englund's game. As the game went on, I was less upset with it, but it was not. I don't know. He'd been playing very well lately, it seemed like, and this was not a continuation of that, in my opinion.
So, I didn't notice him out there a whole lot, so I will defer to you on Englund. I felt like, this was my first chance to wear my Manson jersey to the game, and I felt like it was one of those things where, like, right from the beginning of the game, I was like, if this was football, he needed to put on a longer cleat. But because it's hockey, you can't really do that. And I got to tell you, man, I looked when they were getting ready for the intros and stuff. I looked at the ice and I was like, that ice looks really chunky for some reason. There just seemed like there were a lot of like down at the end, you know, the lights would shine on it just the right way. And you'd see lots of little like rivulets and stuff like that in it where it just seemed like, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was going to be, and guys were falling down all over the place. I don't know. The puck didn't seem as bouncy as I would have expected.
Yeah, for me, I didn't see it, but I guess I definitely saw the falling a lot. There were a lot of things where I think people like, I don't know. I just saw a lot of people fall and not a lot of people complaining. Like, you know, people like, oh, I tripped me. And I was like, okay,
yeah, no, it was a lot of falling with nobody around them. I mean, you know, they can't complain about somebody tripping because there was nobody there. It was just,
It was, yeah. I think you're, I mean, I don't think this was like, I wasn't like thrilled with Josh Manson's game tonight, but I don't have any problems with it as his second game back from injury. After such a long break.
I felt like he got kind of twisted around himself on that first goal. I thought that he lost where the guy was who was behind him, and he thought he could block that pass, and kind of he just seemed like he wasn't sure if he should back up and try to take the pass or move forward and try to take the skater. And and all I really wanted him to do was go down on a knee to try to block the pass, and he didn't. And it ended up being a real easy goal, which was a bummer. You know, that was really the only thing I saw from Manson that I was really bummed about. But
yeah, I think it was a fine. I mean, for most of the defense, I actually wasn't too upset about it. I think it was mostly the forwards that were causing the Avs defensive problems. One thing I don't know if I tweeted it out or said it in Discord. I said 5 of the goals tonight have been caused because the forwards, a winger has gotten the puck along the wall and they're not attacking it or getting it out. And if any of you math experts at home, the Oilers scored 5 goals tonight. So that calculates to a 100% winger not getting the puck out to goal ratio, kind of. There were times when they didn't do that.
Yeah, that frustrates me because I see them standing there waiting for the puck, and I'm, you know, in beer league, I get yelled at for doing that. And, you know, well, okay, I don't really get yelled at because they know I can't actually skate to the puck, but that's not the point. These guys are pros and they should. They seem to have been doing that a lot lately, where the wingers are just waiting for the puck to get to them. And, you know, somebody on the other team, one of their wingers just comes crashing in on them and gets to the puck in front of them because they're just standing there waiting for it to get to them.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that strategy.
It seems to have been more of a thing on these second nights of the back-to-back, which, I mean, obviously, I guess they're just tired. But
yeah,
it was frustrating, and it led to a lot of goals that could have not happened. Second goal, God, I don't even remember this goal. I was like trying to, I don't know what I think I was trying to like eat my nachos. I barely saw this goal. I can watch it right now. I just know the Avs got hemmed in for a long time and they just couldn't get the puck out.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's fine. Okay. I just kind of, I did kind of assume that, you know, geez. Someone said that goal was Georgiev's fault. I really don't know what they want him to do on that one, I guess.
Well, I feel like in a game like this, that one was I don't feel like Georgiev is, you can really blame Georgiev on that.
And now that I want to touch on one more thing on Manson and Byram. I thought as the game started, I was not a fan. I thought Byram his clock was very slow in his own zone and he wasn't making good passes. Mm-hmm. And obviously they were on the ice for I guess just Manson was on the ice for those 2 goals against. So it was Englund on the first one, not Byram. And so that was, something that was frustrating. But as the game went on, I didn't notice them making a lot of problems. Really, like I said, it was mostly the forwards. I think the defensemen were doing their job pretty well. It was just the forwards. kind of didn't help them out in a great way. But
well, on any of that stuff, I mean, there's 5 guys on the ice, right? So if the puck's in your end, you're a defenseman, whether you got a D after your name or not, right? And I like watching that second Fogle goal. Like JT is just like let's Fogle kind of zip right past him, and doesn't like, if you watch it, he looks like he's kind of pointing to somebody else, like, you take him or something, and it really should be his responsibility. And so some miscommunication there, maybe, I don't know.
There were a few miscommunications that led to goals. There was that one, and then there was that 5th goal where they got the puck and MacKinnon just let the guy skate by him. I was upset because MacKinnon had like scored. He'd scored 2 goals. I'm like, okay, dude, you gotta don't give anything up. And then he just that's just inexcusable. Inexcusable just to have that level of miscommunication. That's his guy, 10 times out of 10, and he can't just let him walk down.
Yeah,
because that's but I think that's really, I mean. And then the 3rd goal I don't have as big of a problem with. I think that's just a nice play. I think the Avs could have maybe defended it better, but I think it's just a nice play and a nice goal.
Most of the time with their goals, it comes from a lack of being able to. They get the puck on their stick, and they don't clear the zone.
Yeah, the play that leads to the goal, you don't have as big of a problem with, but it's what. They shouldn't have gotten to that point because the puck should have been out, which was my biggest problem with the Avs tonight, is that I understand they're tired and they had a second night of a back-to-back, but they were just turning over the puck and not too much, and they weren't managing the puck very well. But that's okay. Now, Georgiev, I thought I didn't have any real problems with him today. I think that the Barry goal, I don't love that, but he was screened a little bit.
Yeah, the guy did flash in front of him. At first, I thought, oh man, that's just bad. But seeing it in replay and seeing that guy flash in front of him, I think that that's a tricky one. I think he would like. I would expect him to want that one back.
Yeah,
like,
I mean
that is one that you really I was saying during it, I was like, I get it. It's not like it's not like I could save it, but you're our guy, man. You've got to find a way to come up with saves like that one a little bit more consistently than I feel like he is right now. He's not playing bad. I don't want to trade him or bench him or anything like that. But some of those kinds of I thought their 5th goal was, the Barry goal and their 5th goal were both goals that I was like, oh, dude. So your team's trying to get back in it. You gotta find a way to fight that one off.
Yeah, I know. So I think that's more the case with the 4th one. The 5th one, we analyzed it. He gets the perfect screen because Connor McDavid literally cuts right in front of him when like that puck is released. And I'm like, with how close he is, it's not, the shot isn't perfectly placed, but it's well placed enough, and that screen is well timed that I really don't have a problem with it. I just want Nathan MacKinnon to cover his guy. And I don't think the Avs won particularly in spite of Georgiev tonight. I don't think he did the best job helping them out, but he also made some big saves. There was a breakaway save that he had when
he did make some really good saves.
And the Oilers did end up with 14 high danger chances. So it's like, I mean, he saves most of them. Yeah. And then, so the Avs, now we can talk about good things for a little bit. I mean, I thought, I don't think the Avs did particularly well, but McKinnon's first goal, I thought that was pretty nice, a nice little screen. And then Nichushkin gets his second 5v5 goal of the season off of another player's skate because he's Val Nichushkin.
Players, right? Yeah.
Which
last night it was his skates. This time it's somebody else's skates.
It's you could look at it and say is lucky, but they pointed out on the broadcast, if that guy doesn't deflect that puck, Nieto is going to get there.
Yeah, no, so I think Nieto had it for sure.
So I think Nichushkin made his own luck on that one. I mean, it was a really nice pass.
A lot of stuff is said about making your own luck, and I think that's the Avs can have. They spent, I don't know, this was what, game 54? So they spent the first, I would say, at least half of the season, at least 41 games, getting none luck. That is how much luck they got. None of it. Zero lucks. Everybody's getting injured. Every puck is bouncing the wrong way. I know you could probably go back and find stuff where they got lucky, but basically none luck. And, over the
a net of none.
Yeah. And well, their net is probably way negative because I saw other teams getting so many lucky bounces against them. And now it's starting to turn a little bit. And I think that's partly because they're feeling it a little bit more, right? They're recognizing that they're starting to get some of their guys back. They're recognizing that the season is starting to come to the stretch run. And, they're still, if not the best team in the NHL, they're one of them, and they want to prove it.
Yeah. And I mean, they didn't, yeah. I think it's,
I really hope that Choo Choo starts. I hope that this is starting to build Choo Choo's form back into what we are used to seeing from him.
I've noticed little things every game. I thought his forecheck has been good since he's come back. And one thing that we haven't seen as much today, I don't think he drove the net a particular lot today. I still think on these second nights of a back-to-back, I'm not going to draw any big conclusions about these guys who are coming back from injuries game, just because, they haven't been playing. They haven't had too many games. So being thrown into these weird back-to-backs definitely can throw some things, might be out of condition. But I did see him, controlling the puck a little bit more and carrying it up the ice a bit more. There were a few times where it wasn't as good, but obviously on that Nieto goal, that's what leads to it.
Yeah. I think the thing that I want to see more from him is the physical play.
Yeah.
Like winning those battles along the board. And I feel like he's getting knocked down in those battles against the board sometimes, which I'm really not used to seeing. I mean, he is usually just like, I am all muscle, I will destroy, right? And look at me with my belt and nothing on. And now I feel like he's that's probably pissing him off, really. And I
don't know if it might be because of like fatigue in his leg or something, but I don't know.
I mean, it's you. Everybody comes back from injury in different ways, and I mean, he's had a hard road back trying to get back from this. He seemed like he was okay, and then had to leave again for a little while. I think it's a more long-term battle that he's going to have with trying to get healthier from this. The good news is that you still got 20 some games left in the season to kind of get that feeling better, because we don't need him to be that guy right now as much as we need him to be that guy in the playoffs.
Right. As long as he gets healthy this season before it's too late. Boy, that's not this is why I don't like expected goals. It's a flawed stat. It just looks like Nathan MacKinnon's goal was like barely anything. I don't get it. Whatever.
It doesn't count much statistically.
Yes. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I've explained to you how expected goals works.
Yeah, but that seems weird.
None of the goals seem to be very much. So I don't know. I think I've talked about this with people before. From game to game, it's not a very good stat to use, but from on the season, it usually
with a
rounds
big enough
up
sample size.
Yeah, pretty nicely. But MacKinnon's goal was very nice, and Josh Manson seems to be healing very well because he jumped about 30 feet in the air.
I know that white man could jump.
Yeah, it was.
That was impressive.
It reminds me of that scene from Community where Pierce is taking too many pain medications after he broke his legs, and he does like the moonwalk out of the room. He's like, and they're like, he's recovering from broken legs, and Troy's like, yeah, he is. Dude can moonwalk. I'm just like that with Josh Manson. I'm like, he's recovering nicely. He could jump like 30 feet in the air.
Look, I thought I was at a Nuggets game for a second there.
Yeah, he could probably jump higher than Nikola Jokic, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so at least on skates he could.
Yeah.
From the television coverage, it looked to me on that like the bench, Edmonton's bench, was whining about that play. Like they thought that Manson had like. I think it looked to me they must have been complaining that he had held the puck for too long or something. I didn't see. I just wondered if they mentioned it at all in the coverage or if they said anything about it.
I don't think they did, and I mean, if Oilers fans wants to complain about it, I complain about that sometimes, but they never call it. They just don't. It's like it's whatever.
I saw that. The reason I say it is because it seemed like it took them a little while before they gave the thumbs up on the goal.
Oh, okay.
And I saw the ref talking to the bench, and he was like kind of motioning like, no, he just brought it down and tossed it. So I didn't know if that was something if that was a thing or not. So I'm glad it wasn't, because that would be ridiculous. But
yeah. So that was a nice goal. MacKinnon scored there. How did that? What did that give you in there?
Well, anytime, the problem with that is that when I see that happen, I get that St. Louis playoff flashback, right? Where you think, oh God, now they have destroyed this goalie and this team, and everything is over, and they're just going to go crawl away and die. And then they come back and score another goal, and you're like, shit. But it was, the energy in the place was pretty awesome. We had this really annoying Edmonton fan sitting, and he wasn't bad. Like he wasn't like the Boston fan that was sitting next to you that one time that decided that screaming in a 14-year-old's face was an appropriate thing to do at a hockey game. This guy was just annoying. He was literally yelling out how much time was left in their power play. Like he's like, there's 30 seconds left. We're like, dude, they can't hear you, and shut up. It was just this one like lone Edmonton fan just sitting down the row from us. I don't know if he was with some Colorado fans or not. I couldn't ever tell if he was with anybody, but every
time they showed an Edmonton fan on the thing after they scored, they were all just sitting down and like, haha, and I was like, okay. Way to get into the spirit.
Their first goal seemed like there was a pretty good cheer there were a decent number of fans there wearing Edmonton stuff. It wasn't like Chicago or Boston. But it was still a fair amount of people. I mean, there's enough people who are bandwagoners for McJesus and stuff like that. But it wasn't, there weren't too many obnoxious ones around, which was nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that fifth goal was kind of the one that really put me in like oh geez, I'm not sure they're going to win this one just because they just couldn't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
But and I literally had like tweeted that they needed a depth goal or something, and I mean it wasn't like right before it happened. But it was just chaos. I was like, what happened? And then they were like, the broadcast said he scored. And I was like, I don't even know who scored. What happened here?
Yeah.
Well, was there chaos there too? Were you also confused?
No, we saw
a better angle.
We saw, well,
you're right there.
Yeah, but it was on the other side of the goal. Oh, so right. we actually did see the puck in the net. So we knew it had gone, we saw that had gone in, and of course they did too, and started cheering. And I think, the goalie was complaining because why didn't you call it covered or whatever? But if you watch the replay, it was never even close to being covered.
Yeah. So. He really, I don't know. There were the guy who was on color it was a former goalie, and I don't think this was any sort of team bias. I think this is just goalie bias.
Yeah.
He was really trying to make a case that was in some way shouldn't have been a goal, and I'm like, no.
I was like, and that one took a while before they gave the thumbs up on it too.
Yeah.
And so they must have been looking at it from
I mean, they were talking about, oh, they might challenge this, and then they show it, and then they have the rule guy come on, and it's just kind of like, don't do that.
I was like, I don't know what you could possibly. The only thing you could that is even in the realm of possibility is goaltender interference, which,
right,
I guess, to be honest, nobody knows what goaltender interference actually is.
Yeah.
So I guess you could call it off because of that. But
I think,
there was nothing in the world that's made that seem like anything but a goal.
Yeah.
If they had whistled, if there was a whistle on the play or something, you could say, did they get it in the net before the whistle? But there wasn't a whistle either. So
right.
I don't know.
It was. I think that was big for the Avs to get that goal, because I think I was talking about how their middle six needs to produce a little bit better. And another goal from Logan O'Connor.
Yeah, literally on that shift, I was thinking to myself, God, I would really like to see these guys do something good. And then they won the face-off, and then they got it down there and pounded it in. I was like, okay, well, I guess that'll do.
Yeah.
I saw two different guys wearing the reverse retro LOC.
Oh,
jerseys. Yeah.
I started a trend.
Yeah, one of them actually, when I was standing up in the concourse, I grabbed something to eat because I was like, I must be getting grumpy because I haven't eaten anything today. So I was eating something. The guy walked by and he was like, I like your jersey. I was like, ooh, I like your jersey too. And he was like, yeah, you got to go off the shelf. You got to get something unique. I was like, yeah, you do. I did not tell him how you ended up with a Logan O'Connor jersey, but
completely planned.
So, yeah. We always knew he was going to be great.
Oh yeah. He gets that big goal. I think that line, I would probably, the bottom six was the Avs probably best tonight. I mean, I think in terms of level of play, I wasn't, I'm still a little bit, I mean, Alex Newhook, I don't know if he got a point on that, but I know he got a point on the Comfort tying goal.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet lately. It's nice to see him.
Apparently, they gave MacKinnon's first goal to Comfort. So, I guess he tipped it. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Okay, well, no, he didn't. But Bo did. Bo, you got an assist. He's sleeping. He doesn't care. But okay, and then they gave Comfort's goal to Lehkonen. All right, well.
Well, that one like in the arena. I was like, no, that got tipped. That was Lehkonen 100%.
I was
nice stick, Lecky.
I was too focused on trying to get my phone to stop auto-correcting Clutchathy. So I didn't notice. But I mean that makes it a little bit better. The luckiness. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, no one else really cares except for probably me. So but
about what?
About luck. Like I just,
well, that one, I mean, that was just you watch that Lehkonen, just great stick. I mean, some
might even say
his timing on it was immaculate. Like it looked like he learned from Landeskog how to do that. It was,
he might have 62 and 92 are pretty close.
Yeah, and apparently Landy was in the building today.
Right?
So. Yeah,
it's that Landy magic. They looked up at the press box and they saw his beautiful face. It was like a beam of light,
aura, the glow of his halo.
Yeah, his what's the word? I don't know. Something colored hair. I don't. God,
flaxen colored hair.
Sure, that.
Does he have blue eyes? Of course he does. He's Swedish. That's a stupid question.
I think he does. But anyway, these two goals from your depth are big. 2 goals from the third line. Newhook wins that face-off. And you know what? Winning face-offs isn't as a huge deal, but when you score a goal off of it, kind of a big deal.
Winning face-offs and neutral ice, I don't give a crap. Whatever. But you got to win those faceoffs in your own zone and in the offensive zone. Even when you lose them in the offensive zone isn't nearly as annoying to me. Though when you do, you set yourself up well for a scoring opportunity. But except for on the power play, like you got to win those faceoffs on the power play.
Yeah, those special teams faceoffs are the big ones.
Especially when you have such a struggle setting up your power play like the Avs do lately.
Yeah, anyways, these goals were big. I felt like this kind of, I don't know. I got a little bit of the, okay, they might do this, but I also got flashbacks from that Florida game, and I don't know, especially once Tyson Barrie had that chance.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where he misses that chance, and then you get a little bit more confidence. And we already talked about overtime like 30 minutes ago, but.
Well, before you get there, though, I want to say that I cannot believe that they only had one penalty kill in the third period. I kept waiting for that other shoe to drop. I thought they were going to find any ticky-tack reason in the world to penalize the Avs. And the Avs did, in their defense, they did a really good job of not giving them opportunities to give them penalties.
Yeah, I mean, it might feel like, he thinks the game where his team got a 4-1 power play advantage, is the best officiated game. But I don't have a problem with this, the way this game was officiated. Probably, you could honestly probably say Edmonton might have gotten more. There was one after their fourth one where he clearly cross-checked Dennis Mulligan.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, whatever. And the Avs didn't do anything on the power play, so
yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, I was surprised by it. I thought for sure they would find a reason, but I thought the Avs played a really clean game. I didn't see them getting, I mean,
there was one play where looked like there was really close to too many men, but I was.
Well, and they had some times where somebody fell down that maybe sometimes that gets called a tripping, but that was happening to the Avs too. Like I felt like the penalties they called, they kind of had to call. They weren't. The guy literally horse collars MacKinnon.
Yeah, some people were mentioning about MacKinnon selling it, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter. You could see like an NFL ref, like this is the NFL rule. You see that jersey tug, they call it.
Yeah, like it wasn't. I think the head whip might have been a little bit much in terms of selling it, but I mean he was literally getting pulled down from behind. So, I don't think there was much sale needed on that one. I think he thought he was just getting a little tug and thought he'd overplay it a little bit, and then he just got like completely yoinked down. So I thought that the second penalty, I thought that they could have called a slew foot for that instead of a trip, but again, you just kind of had to call that. None of the Edmonton penalties felt like they were ticky-tack. So it was nice to see that the refs were that they were controlling the game, but not forcing themselves on.
Yeah,
them.
With no Evander Kane, it does feel like these Oilers games feel a lot less chippy. Weird how that works.
I felt bad for Kermit because I thought maybe he was, he was kind of bored out there and didn't really have anybody to go hit. Yeah. Though he did have, I don't know if you noticed, he had one player, there was a guy down on the ice, like at the blue line. And for some reason, he just gave him a big shove. And the guy like got up like he was getting all like aggressive. And then he saw who it was and just kind of skated away.
It's like, yeah, well, I'm leaving.
Fine then.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Apologies. I mean, we talked about the overtime. I don't think the first half was particularly good. I mean, they didn't win faceoffs, and Edmonton had the puck a lot. And I was really scared that Connor McDavid was, after doing nothing the rest of the game, was going to be like, "Here I am."
Yeah.
But they didn't let him. And then I feel like from that point forward, there was that one shift where I don't remember. It was. I don't know. Once they just started playing MacKinnon and Rantanen and Comfort, they were just rotating those three. I figured, I was like, oh, this works.
They just wanted JT out there to take face-offs. I thought they did the first half of it. Yeah, Edmonton had the puck possession pretty well, but they did such a good job of shutting it down and keeping them from really any kind of meaningful chances at all. It was tense because Connor McDavid, you never know what he's going to do. You kind of keep expecting him to, like, I don't know, teleport to in front of the net and shoot it or something. I don't know, or carry the puck on his head or something. But you know, they held them outside and never, you know, they just played really smart defensive 3-on-3. And you know, they were just, it kind of felt like they were biding their time there. I felt like this was a team that was comfortable going to the shootout if they needed to.
Well, they were. No, Edmonton wasn't, because
right,
they've lost 2 games in a row in the shootout. Yeah. Which is so weird. So weird how a team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl is so bad in the shootout.
Well, I figured, you know, one of them will probably score a goal, but their goaltender was not playing all that great either. So I figured, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
few of us could score goals too, so
yeah.
But they're kind of like, you know, it's kind of like Nate and Mikko. They frustrate me on the shootout, because I don't feel like I don't know. It just doesn't. It seems like they like have a move. And,
yeah, they're not particularly creative. It feels like some of the time. All right. Well, we already touched on the overtime goal. Pretty good for Mikko. Super cool. What was it? What was it like in the arena when he scored?
Oh, it was loud.
Right.
I mean, the way he scored that goal, it was just kind of like, you were not going to stop me from scoring this goal.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of disappointed with him. I was literally just being like, Mikko, you're disappointing me today. Please do something. I literally had said something in the Discord, and I was like, I'm not happy with Mikko. And he's like, okay, screw you, pal.
He like kind of, I thought he got the monkey off his back.
He felt a disturbance, and that his biggest fan had slandered him.
He felt the disturbance in the force. I felt like there was a point earlier in the game where I was just kind of like,
feels like a punch in the kidneys.
No, my kidney. There was a point where I was just like, you got the monkey off your back with the 200th goal. Now you're supposed to like feel looser and be like getting back to the moose that we saw in the first part of the season. And
that whole Mikko Erod comfort second line doesn't work. They can't. I don't care. They played one good game yesterday and they didn't score any goals. Just stop trying it, is my thing. So
yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Well, I think that's fair. I don't know. I'm excited that Landy's going to start skating. I don't know what that means in terms of how long before he actually shows up in a game, but
right.
I think having him back in the building, I'm hoping that the Makar thing was mostly a precautionary.
It sounds so. I don't know if you saw what Bednar said, but he said, hold on. He said that he said Bednar confirms broken ankle for Eric Johnson. Makar's injury is not head related at this time. And someone said, this makes it sound like Bednar is going to concuss Kale.
If he doesn't get back on the ice, I'm going to go make it a head issue. Yeah, I hope that it's. I hope that it's.
My theory is still that it's his schnoz.
I think, it probably rang his bell a little bit. I would say the one thing I feel about with Kale that we've seen in his short career so far is that he's not the kind of guy who's going to go play a somewhat meaningless kind of game when he's not sure that he's not going to get hurt, right? Like, he wants to make sure he's 100%.
Yeah, and he knows how to hold it for games that matter.
Yeah, I think if this is a playoff game, then he's probably there, is my guess. I don't know what's going on with him. If it was concussion symptoms, then maybe not.
Or if the Avs lose yesterday or something, then I think maybe. But it doesn't seem like it's a concussion related thing. I think it's just a precaution, and I think and I think if maybe Manson wasn't back, he might play as well. But I think we're getting a little short on time, so I do want to get your 3 stars of the game.
Well, me, because I stayed. No. 3 stars of the game. I think. I mean, yeesh. Who are the 3 stars of the game? I think I mean JT had a 4-point night, right? And I don't know if we need to call him TJ every night to get him like revved up so he'll get 4 points. Let's see. I feel like MacKinnon kind of jump started the team a little bit there in the third period, kind of said, bullshit. Let's not waste any time with this, right? Like he came out just ripping in the third. So I don't know that it's a full game.
And then he was like, well, I did what I needed to do.
Right.
Come on. Someone do my job for me.
Right. Like somebody do something. So yeah, Timothy, Nate, and I think I'm going to go with LOC as my 3rd star. I think I'm going in that order: 3, 1, 2, 3.
Nothing for the guy with the game-winning goal.
Rantanen.
I don't
know.
Like I said, I don't think he played very well.
He had one great play, and it was a hugely important play. But yeah, I think in the arena, I think the 3rd star was I didn't even hear who they said. It was somebody from Edmonton.
It was probably Fogle.
Yeah, probably was Fogle. I booed, so I don't know. And then it was
Fogle. It was according to the 3 stars. It was Mikko 1, Comfort 2, Fogle 3.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I don't really have a problem. And really, honestly, if you're being objective, then yeah, you probably give Fogle a star because he did have a 2-goal game and they did get a point out of the game. I don't like giving a losing team a star, especially since I'm a fan of the team that won. So I'm not really going to give him one. I think maybe MacKinnon moves into more honorable mentions, and Mikko should be in a star category, 3rd star for me. I like LOC scoring just because I'm such a big fan of him as a person. So when he scores, it makes me feel good.
You get the warm fuzzies. For me, I think my honorable mention is Georgiev. My 3rd star is my 3rd star is probably, I would say probably JT, just because I feel like he had a little bit more of a responsibility on some of the goals against. And I feel like he got 4 points, but how much did he I mean, I feel like he had those 2, that MacKinnon first one, obviously he technically scored that, I guess now. And then that tying one, I think he had a real big impact on. But if you if you had told me to point out when JT got points, I don't think I would have, really been able to pinpoint the other ones. Other than that, he probably won the face-off on the one, which is big. But
and that was another thing for me is that he really stepped up on the winning the penalty.
I also feel like he could have
in overtime.
He could have scored on that overtime, and he wouldn't even have had to win that face-off on the MacKinnon pass. But anyways, then I'll give Mikko second, and I'll give MacKinnon first because I don't think he played great, and I don't like that one goal, but I don't think on the whole he was really that bad. I don't think I wasn't noticing. I've seen worse games from MacKinnon. So, meh.
I do have to say that I've been really impressed with Nieto.
The fourth line has been very good.
His style of play, Myers,
Logan, Nieto, and Myers.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
They're what I like to see in the fourth line they're for the Avs especially. They're speedy, so they get down there and they muck it up on the forecheck, and I like that.
Yeah, they were.
It's not star worthy, but it's noteworthy.
Yeah, it's just they don't get enough minutes most nights, and if they're not scoring, it doesn't. But they were the only line that was, for the most part, for the first part of the game, that was really getting possession in the Oilers zone, and I don't know. I've just always been a fan of him, and
yeah, I would really like to see those guys get a little bit more minute wise, because I'm a little worried about how tired they're going to be come playoff time. The top guys, if you're not willing to spread it out just a little bit more. But as we get guys back healthy, maybe we'll see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, and with they have a 4 day break.
Yep.
So it feels a little bit fine.
Thank God they've got 4 days off in between back-to-backs.
Couldn't have played any of those games.
Next back-to-back.
One thing.
5 back-to-backs that they have left. The NHL is a joke because back-to-back hockey is bad hockey.
Yeah,
it just doesn't matter. It's not good hockey because at least one team is not. I mean, this ended up being a really good game. This is, this disproves that to some extent, but this is more the exception than the rule. The rule is back-to-back hockey is bad hockey. It's not. You're not putting the best product out on the ice. That's what pisses me off about the NHL with back-to-back hockey. You're making bad hockey. So, and then you're wondering why viewership is down.
One thing I do want to point out really quick, on tonight, Josh Manson and JT Compher were both on the ice for 4 goals for. So that's good for Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Rodriguez was on the ice for no goals for and 4 goals against. So
wow.
I'm just getting a little worried with him just because we saw what happened last year where he's got those 2 different seasons, and I'm like, you just can't have that. I don't know if they need to put him back with MacKinnon or what.
Well, I think hopefully as they get a little bit more healthy, maybe you see that start to be a little bit more consistent, and maybe that helps him build up some more consistency and improve on that. But him being on the ice for 4 goals for is a real good indication of his ability to help control the play, though. And keeping them out of high danger, chances on his end, and being, he's not getting points. But that doesn't mean that he's, when you see.
Oh no, he was on the ice. Sorry, did I misspeak? He was on the ice for 4 goals against.
Oh, okay, never mind. That sucks. That is bad. All of those things I said, never mind. Because I've been worried about him too. Because I was, when you said that, when I thought
we'll just take what you said and put it for JT Compher and Josh Manson.
Right. Because what you said surprised me. I was like, wow, I haven't seen Rodriguez really doing much. So him being on the ice for 4 goals is a good thing. No, him being on the ice for 4 goals against is bad. And I think that's he's part of that forwards not playing, getting the puck out of the zone. Yeah. They're making weird choices that don't end up well.
But
Just stop it.
But at the end of the day,
that's my coaching.
The Avs did win. It was a fun game.
4 points out of a back-to-back. That's not bad.
No, it's very good.
I was super excited that they got 3 points out of it in overtime. I was like, wow, I can't believe they got 3 points out of this back-to-back. That's awesome. And then they got 4.
Yep. And that's all you really care about. Don't care how the sausage gets made.
Yep. 7 out of 8 on 2 back-to-backs in a row. That's not bad.
Anyways, I mean, I'm not going to say you're not going to ever be back, but I think it'll be Blake next time. But I appreciate you coming on, giving us your first person take.
If you liked me better than Blake, smash that subscribe. No, I don't know. Whatever. Just kidding. Blake's great. Sorry, you're not feeling great, Blake.
Oh yeah. Hopefully he watches this. I don't know.
Hope your bone bruise is feeling better.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, thanks for hopping on, and make sure hopefully you all enjoyed, like and subscribe, and we'll see you hopefully on an off day podcast. So bye.
Toodles.